welcome to Business as Unusual. My name is Megan, and I hope that you and your family are all safe and well. And just to give a little bit of an introduction for those that haven't tuned in before, GLP created a Facebook group called Central London's Lockdown Support Group. This support group is mainly just to provide a platform for those businesses that are open and closed but are still generating revenue for their companies. As well as just organisations and charities sharing what they're up to so that we can support where possible. I've been doing these live chats now for a couple of weeks. It's just really enjoyable to meet the people behind the businesses and find out firsthand what they are up to. These are at 11:30 every single weekday, so I hope you've been enjoying them as much as I have. It's just to spread the word and give them the exposure that they deserve. Today we're speaking to Taylor from Cloud9 Cycles. Cloud9 Cycles are based on 38 Store Street in Bloomsbury. Hi Taylor.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited to find out more about Cloud9 Cycles and just obviously a little bit more about kind of what you're doing at the moment. So for the people that don't know about the store, can you just give us a little bit of a background as to kind of what the store does and just a little bit more about it?
For sure. Right. So we build custom bicycles, and that is the ultimate goal for us, is to build a bike that you are so excited to ride that you ride it all the time. And that could be any type of bike, from a very comfortable urban commuter to something that you're racing quite seriously on a velodrome, to off-road adventuring mountain bikes. And we do also offer handmade custom steel frames as well. And that is fairly new, actually, and was meant to launch this month officially with film. And of course, that's all been postponed or canceled, hopefully postponed. But yes, we also offer custom fitting working with a professional bike fitter. So that's custom geometry and components. So yeah, ultimately we would love to build something that you love to ride. That's our ultimate goal. And we're a very small team of cycling advocates. So yeah, that's it.
No, that's really good. So I just find it amazing that, because obviously you are a shop front as well, where people can kind of rent and buy ready-made bikes, but then you have got the workshop. So I was looking on your Instagram and I saw when you kind of took us through the shop. I really enjoyed it. I was like, ooh, especially now when you're getting really used to virtual tours on absolutely everything. But as you went through and then downstairs, and you've got all of these workshop spaces, and it's just fantastic space that you've got. And it's almost like you don't believe that that's just behind that door. You know?
Right. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, we love our space.
And you have do you work with specific models and promote specific models of bike to like the brandings?
Yeah, we're very selective about the brands that we do carry in terms of like off the shelf frames or things that can be customized. So we offer, in terms of price range options, it depends how deep you want to go with the custom element. And of course, the more custom it is, the better the bike is going to be. So it really is based on a customer's needs and hopes and dreams and budget. We can offer you the best thing for what you need and what you want to be doing on the bike.
Oh, that's really good. I was especially because I was saying to you earlier that whenever I've gone biking before, I absolutely love it. But then I need more custom made because I'm quite numb afterwards. So I think it is really important because once you have found a bike, then obviously it's going to motivate you to use it more. And it's going to improve your activity on whilst you're cycling as well, which is great. I need to get involved in this. So obviously the government allowed for cycle shops to stay open just to kind of obviously increase activity and also help essential workers to use this as a mode of transport. How have the shop been operating during lockdown?
Right. So We right now have one person in the shop at a time. And that's mainly been our one mechanic who's been single-handedly running Cloud9 for us while we sort of support externally. So we've got a very capable mechanic in there, and we're seeing a lot of people, especially essential workers, who are coming and they're either returning to cycling after a very long hiatus as a safe alternative to transit, or so they're either bringing us a bike that hasn't seen the light of day for potentially years, and so we're having to make sure that bikes are safe and reliable to ride. We've also seen a flux of customers who are taking this opportunity to finally get the bike that they've always wanted, and that is something that we can also help with. So yeah, it's been really nice to see this sort of surge of physical activity and people participating in physical activity, because of course we have our one a day. So there's that aspect that's leisurely and it's amazing for mental health, and of course physical health, and the environment. Honestly, I really think that cycling could probably save the world in many ways. But then we also have, of course, a very practical, essential worker using the bike as a form of transport, which needs to be safe, and they need to be able to rely on it to get around. So, yeah.
I think that's really useful as well, because a lot of people that are going back to work soon, they mainly have anxiety because of the tubes. Because obviously based in central London, that's an issue that we're going to have, that people are scared to get on the underground. So I think that will encourage quite a lot more people to cycle and to use bikes where they do feel safe on the road, because obviously then there's that aspect of it that you can't just kind of bring out a bike from your garage that's all rusty and a mountain bike and then go on the road with it, which is the sort of thing that I would usually do. So I think just to encourage people to use them more, just in order to get a bike that works for them, so that they can use it more, which is what do you feel like, tell us a little bit more about the benefits of cycling, just to kind of give a little bit more encouragement.
Yeah, I mean, the bike is such a versatile thing, whether it's like a large part of your identity and you're a serious athlete, or you get on it maybe once a week for your leisurely escape. I think that riding a bike is so important for so many aspects of a city, in terms of space and in terms of mental health and in terms of physical activity. And of course, it's a really nice time right now to talk about the infrastructure of a city as well, and cycle safety in terms of space, and especially now, like, highlighted so much by sort of social distancing and the space between bodies that is the safe amount of space. So we're also seeing a need and a call for like the widening of cycle lanes and dedicated cycle lanes. I feel like this time is really opening up a lot of different conversations around cycling safety and advocacy in terms of like how much it can benefit a city. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I agree, because obviously when you're at the traffic lights and stuff in the mornings and you see all of the commuters on the bikes, and obviously they need to create that space. So it's definitely conversations that need to be had, really. I know that it was needed previously, but now it's even more important. So it's an ongoing issue that is definitely, I think it will be addressed shortly, like it's going to have to be. And tell us, so obviously some people that are staying at home at the moment and not wanting to get out, what are the indoor cycling alternatives?
Right. Indoor cycling, I've never personally, I've always loved a spin class, but of course we're not gathering for spin classes right now. So I know that a lot of people in the cycling community have found sort of online gatherings and online sort of like sessions on a stationary bike really helpful, because like myself included, when I ride with other people, and it's a huge part of the joy of cycling for me. As much as I love a solo ride, I can only do that so much before I crave something else. I love to be able to share the experience of a bike with other people. So yeah, I know that a lot of people have been turning to like turbos to make bikes that they already own into a stationary bike. But then there's also some really crazy tech out there. Like we now, you can now pre-order with us the Wahoo Kicker bike, which we had in the shop sort of earlier before it was available for a brief time there to sort of try it out. And we ended up using it for bike fitting. And it was just like something from the future. This bike moves under you and can be set to any group set on the market that's out there in terms of the shifting and what brake is on which side. It literally can just sort of automatically attune to any existing bike that you might own or that you might want to own, so that it basically morphs under you into the bike that you might want to buy or not, based on your experience.
That's amazing. That sounds like a complete new technology, almost like a Tesla, but in bike form. It's crazy. Yeah. Someone just commented actually saying, I would be looking to cycle to work to avoid public transport. However, I have a 10 kg dog. Do you have any dog baskets or can recommend any? Or
we definitely love to solve problems at Cloud9. Since I've been with Cloud9, we have not, that I can remember, built or sort of provided anything specifically for a dog. But there are amazing cargo bike options out there. And yeah, if that person would love to send us an email, I'm sure we could recommend some stuff that's out there, some possible options.
That's great, thank you.
I hope that happens.
Also, just to bring the attention to the stuff that you were doing kind of before lockdown, because obviously I know that you did events and you travelled in Scotland, didn't you? You did one of these cycle events in Scotland.
Yeah. That was I was lucky enough to take part in the making of a film that launched around a month ago now, I guess, called Rain Spotting, and that was with Brother Cycles, which is a UK-based bike builder. And they're amazing, and we stock a lot of brothers and do a lot of brother builds, and then also a touring sort of company called Panier CC, who are also UK based and amazing, and sort of a lifestyle sort of resource. And they have made films together in the past, and this was number 2. And yeah, I was lucky enough to be able to take part, and it was meant to premiere at SHAF, at the Sheffield Adventure Film Festival, and of course that all got cancelled, and so we ended up launching it online. And I think because of the current situation, it actually potentially reached more people than it would have if it premiered at the film festival and through events in general. So it was actually, it wasn't disappointing, because it was actually a really nice thing to be able to sort of offer and unveil in a time when people are stuck at home and watching bike adventures instead of going on them. Right.
Where can they stream it? Like, if I wanted to watch it later, is there a link?
It's on Vimeo. Yeah, if you write Rain Spotting Vimeo into Google, it will come up. Yeah, it's around 17 something minutes long, and it's just a really nice sort of escape to the Scottish Highlands. Yeah.
Amazing. I think it just to kind of feel like you're outdoors at the moment within those climates would be amazing. And what's the longest? Have you ever done any cycles personally? So, say for example, like from London to France, or have you ever done any long cycles like that with a group of people?
Yeah. I mean, I've only been in the UK for a couple of years, so most of my long distance cycling adventures have been in Ontario and Canada. But I had some pretty exciting adventures planned for this summer and spring and fall. The most exciting one So I have not done this yet, but I was set to do it this coming June or July, is the Pan-Celtic race. And we are sort of, as a shop, Cloud9, we've collaborated with the Pan-Celtic before. To do a gathering. Their events are called gatherings, and they've cultivated this amazing community of ultra-distance cycle racers. And so the Pan-Celtic race changes every year, and this year's iteration of it was meant to, I think, start in Wales and then go north, and there's like 2 ferry crossings in it. I think last year it ended in it always ends at the organizer's house in the north. But yeah, that was supposed to happen.
Hopefully it'll be postponed and you'll still be able to do that, because that sounds unreal. It's all
been postponed to next year. So those are the sorts of things that are happening, right? Is things are being just completely postponed. But it also affords sort of this extra time for other things, like writing and reflecting and sort of digging back into like photo archives, that sort of those kinds of things that you're always meaning to do, but you never get to do. So yeah, that's been quite nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've started up kind of fitness and doing all of this. So that's the main thing that I've been doing in the meantime. But reading as well. I like reading. Tell us a little bit more about kind of bike pack and camping. Because I think that you mentioned something about when you cycle, you can kind of put the camp with cycling.
Yes, absolutely. As a shop, we build a lot of bikes for people who are wanting to bike pack, and people who are wanting those overnight adventures, and a bike that they can rely on either on the road or off road to carry everything that they need. And those bikes are really fun because every custom build sort of, there's no formula. There's no sort of one size fits all solution. It's a lot of it's a lot of back and forth in terms of what the customer wants, and sometimes the customer comes to us and doesn't even quite know what they want. So it's sort of our job to sort of curate those hopes and dreams and figure out exactly what the customer would like out of their bike. But yeah, bike packing and sort of like micro adventures, as they say, are really popular right now. And I think they're really important in terms of escaping from everyday life and escaping from the city and connecting to nature and getting out there and really just sort of letting your mind go for a night or two, and potentially being with friends. And yeah, that is a really big trend right now, and I think that it's really beneficial for people with busy lives.
I think that'll be really interesting for a close friend of mine, actually, because she loves to do all of these cycles, like London to Brighton, London to Paris. She even cycled to Italy. And she said that one of the problems that she found was she would like to kind of go to Italy and then camp, because she's very outdoorsy and she enjoys that. But she was just like, how do I take my tents? Like, I don't understand how everybody takes things like that. So even when she's cycling within the UK and they want to go on a camping trip, the ideal would be to cycle there in the first place, do the camping trip, and then cycle back. So I know that when they were doing it and everything, and when they had to go on from England to France, I think they went on to the Eurostar, and they had to kind of pack everything up. They had to pack their bike, and then they had to pack. So they just said it would just be so much easier if there was a solution to that. So I'll definitely let her to come to you guys to find that solution, because it's perfect. It literally just sounds perfect.
It's like such a simple way to travel, and there's to me, there's no comparable feeling to knowing that you have everything that you need on this machine, that you are powering yourself. It's just like the most independent, free feeling out there. I mean, it's my favorite thing.
That's so good. So I can't wait. You're making me want to go on a really long bike ride now. Can't even get the bike out. Also, tell me a little bit more about Store Street, because we were speaking about it before we came live, but I just think it's important to finish off on what a wonderful street it is. How long have you guys been on Store Street? Do you know?
It'll be around 6 years. We had our 10th anniversary party around this time last year, which is really lovely. I mean, the nature of bike shops and working in the cycling industry, unfortunately, is that see a lot of great shops close very often. It's quite heartbreaking. It's tough, and it's really, really great that we have made it this far and been able to celebrate a decade. And we wouldn't be able to do it without our incredibly supportive customer base. And Store Street itself is its own lovely community. I mean, the street has a lot of history, as sort of like as far as storefronts go. And in terms of all the small businesses that are along that stretch, it really does feel like a community working there. And there are all the familiar faces, and everyone knows each other's names. And it's just really lovely. And I will also say that in terms of the current climate right now, there is no more beneficial thing for small businesses to be doing right now than to be supporting each other and sort of latching on to that community feeling and asking for support and sharing resources. And that is, I think we're all better together. And yeah, to me, that's the only option. So
that's so lovely. If any of you listen haven't been to Store Street yet, you have to. It's such an iconic street in Bloomsbury, and it's so beautifully presented as well. And I just think that it really has kept the community vibe, as Taylor said, as well as independent shops, which I think is really important for communities such as Bloomsbury. It's brilliant. I really like it. And they do Bloomsbury festivals, so I'm sure that there will be a time in the future where we can do one of those festivals again. So yeah, join. I just do, before we finish off, I just want to say that Callum Rogers has kindly shared the link for us on the comments. So if you do want to watch, if you do want to watch rain spotting, then you can. So to make sure that you click on that link, I'm definitely going to do it. And then someone else, Maureen, has written, I want to start cycling to work, but have never been the best at it. What are the most important things to look for in a bike when getting a city bike for the first time?
Well, that really depends. It depends, right? How far you're going to cycle, how often you're going to be on it. But really, you want something reliable and something that is worth the money that you're paying for it, depending on your budget. So yeah, there are so many options out there. And in terms of getting a bike fit, that is always where we sort of start, if that's what the customer wants, because it is your vehicle and you're on it every day potentially. So that body to machine connection is really important. And you want to avoid injuries, you want to avoid any stress on any parts of your body. It really is needs to be harmonious. So that would be where I would start. And then of course, every case is different, but from there, as soon as you have your bike fit geometry, that narrows down your options for things that are available like right away. And you might only have a few or a couple options from there. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. But it's a journey.
Visit Cloud9 Cycles and they'll make one for you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us here today, Taylor. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you for having me.
Get on my bike. Yes, and hopefully we can meet in person soon rather than virtually. And then I'll come to visit the shop, so it will be lovely. But yes, just to remind everyone, so the link to watch the video is in the comments. We'll also put that, we'll edit it so that it's at the top. And also they can visit your website, cloud9.co.uk. Cloud9 Cycles, sorry.
Cloud9 Cycles, yeah. .com.
I'll put it in the bit up there. And then also they're on Instagram as well. And I've really enjoyed looking through their Instagram. They're constantly giving you updates. They're constantly giving you stories. They're a lovely, friendly bunch, and you kind of feel like you know them. So yes, support this business, please. Thank you again for joining us today. I've really enjoyed it, and have a lovely day.
Thanks, Megan. Bye.